Hello, Lindsay. Welcome to the School of Love. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for the honor of being a mentor, a friend, a guide, someone I see as almost a father figure, and for your wisdom, being 89 years old, the wisdom you've imparted on me, the mentoring you've given me, and how you've impacted so many lives with your work. I know that you have worked with some of the greats, Steve Hardison, Steve Chandler, and so many other great individuals. I know that you've been part of their journey, and it's such an honor for me to be here with you. And recently, I have gone through a very challenging time, and you reminded me of the skills that you have imparted in me through your teachings of hypnosis, which you call perceptionism. And you just really anchored in that actually these skills alone are sometimes all you need to get through adversity. It's not just, you know, in times that you think you may need this type of support can come in and help you in critical times, times where you're going through extreme adversity. And so I wanted to share with others on this podcast how you have helped me and impacted me recently. And what really touched me was speaking about this journey and struggling, and you sharing how you struggled once around not actually wanting to be here, and how you changed your perception and your perspective on that situation.
Well, thank you for all the accolades. It is a pleasure to visit with you, Marina. And I guess especially this period of time, for many people, it is a greater challenge than other times. The Christmas season, and it has been shown that traditionally there are many more suicides during a holiday than other times. But there was a period of time in my life where I was really a mess. I lacked self-confidence. I was in sales, terrified to go out and make sales calls because I was afraid somebody's going to tell me they didn't want to buy my stuff. And I was thousands of dollars in debt back then. That was a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I was truly ready to end it all. And I picked out a cliff to drive off of. And down the other side of the cliff is probably, 500 feet. And I had the engine revved, ready to drive off. And I reasoned with myself, if I am down there dead, then tomorrow morning, when the sun comes up, nothing will matter. I thought to myself, well, that's what I want. I'm just tired of all of the self-loathing, the self-incompetence, and that's what I want. And I'm really having a challenge in facing adversities. And so if I'm down there dead, then all of that goes away.
Mm.
And then it dawned on me, well, but what if I'm not dead? I'm just all broken up. Well, that'd be okay too. Then I'd have an excuse for being a failure. I use that as an excuse.
Mm.
And then it dawned on me, well, if I'm down there dead and nothing matters, then why should it matter if I'm alive?
Mm.
So in my mind, I perceived I did drive off that cliff. I am down there dead.
Mm.
And since then, nothing has mattered.
Such a beautiful perspective, because I think many of us have gone through times where life's been challenging. My life has been extremely challenging, where sometimes I thought, like, it's like a movie and it's like I've been written out of the movie, and I don't, yeah, what if I'm not here, right? And obviously this has affected me with someone very close that has done this, right? And so to anyone that's alone at Christmas, which I will be alone again this Christmas, right? So anyone that's lonely at Christmas, anyone that feels not wanted, not loved, like everything's too much. It's that perspective that actually it's not whatever you feel is the big deal. It's okay. We've all been there. We're even there now, right? But then it's also like, okay, how can we also shift the perspective and have hope and change our perceptions of realities, right? So this is something, work we've done and discussions we've been in, right? Of if what you're doing now isn't working, how can you shift that? And how can you change the perceptions of yourself so that you create? We talked of grief. Obviously, I'm in a stage of grief. And what really also helped me was your understanding of Marina. However you react, is it going to change the past? Is it going to change the future? Can you explain that more?
Sure. First of all, I am completely convinced that our behavior, how we feel about ourselves, how we respond to other people, circumstances, and events, are the way we deal with all those things depends on how we perceive them.
Yeah.
Our self-perceptions are messages to our brain. Our brain, in turn, automatically causes us to behave consistent with the perception.
Yeah.
And if we choose to, and I use choose because I don't like the word want. Want is fluff. Choose.
Yeah.
If we choose to change our behavior, we need to choose to perceive ourselves responding to things differently.
Yeah.
And there's a principle I call emotional independence. Having peace of mind, and a sense of well-being that is independent from the behavior of other people, circumstances, events that are happening, or the things in the past or the present, or might happen in the future. And oftentimes we have talked about how long is now. You cannot do anything in the past. You cannot do anything in the future. So my question is to my clients, in which now had you planned to be peaceful?
I love that. Because
And one of
ultimately you've said to me, you're 89. I was going to say 9, but you're 89 because you've been so peaceful in your life. You've had events happen and you've been peaceful no matter, your daughter's died of breast cancer. You've had loss, you've had sadness, and some people have accused you of being emotionally detached. But you said, no, Marina, that is peaceful, and that's why you're still here. And that's so profound.
Sure, there's a direct correlation between our stress level and our physical well-being.
Yeah.
And one of the greatest discoveries of my life was the day I discovered that what other people are does not determine what I am. I ran around for the first 36 years of my life feeling the other way. There must be something wrong with me because how they treat me.
Yeah.
And then one day it dawned on me. They would be behaving as they behave even if I wasn't here.
Very true.
They do not say those things or do those things because there's anything wrong with me. They're saying those things and doing those things because that is how they behave. And once I really incorporated that into my way of perceiving myself, now that gives everyone out there the freedom to behave however they choose and has no negative influence on me emotionally. I would never be critical of another person's behavior or their lifestyles, with one exception, and that is if what they are doing is harming someone else. Other than that, I am totally accepting of other people.
What if they're harming you with, but I suppose that's your perception, right? If they're harming you.
Well, if they are physically harming me, I would do everything I can to fight back, but verbally, and the thing is that most of the things they are saying are not true at all. And too often we have false self-perceptions,
Yeah.
perceiving that we can't do something or shouldn't do something.
Yes, very true. Like we shouldn't talk about certain things. We shouldn't overshare. We shouldn't, there's this stigma in society where people are told to be open and vulnerable and yet told they're not to overshare. And then things are put in boxes and then there's all this shame. And I believe that is a silent killer, right? The inability to be able to express and to be, even if it's not right, even if you mess up, right, in situations, but the inability just to express and share and to have shame for any parts of you that are there. I think that alone is a silent killer, because ultimately by speaking freely, by sharing our truth, by sharing our vulnerability, by being open, by being real, people can accept you as you are or not, right? And people can, you can learn through relationships. You can say, well, that didn't work and this didn't work and that hurt me. But if you can have these honest, open, pure dialogues without shutting the other person down, without making them wrong, without judging them, without projecting your own pain onto them, that's how we grow and that's how we really support each other.
And we have talked about forgiveness.
That's incredible. Yeah, because forgiveness is big, isn't it? It's like you have to forgive, right?
Yeah.
I was brought up like that. It was like, you're not allowed to hate anyone and you have to forgive them, right? So I would automatically go to, that's fine. I forgive you straight away. I think, and then it's almost at my blind detriment of not learning discernment, right? So talk to us about forgiveness.
Well, if we change forgiveness to acceptance,
Yeah.
forgiving someone in itself is being critical that what they did was wrong.
Yeah, it comes from like judgment.
And merely saying, I accept the fact, I don't agree with it, but I accept you as you are and love you as you are, because what you are has nothing to do with what I am. And that gives me the freedom.
Beautiful.
That gives a person the freedom to love people in spite of the fact they have differences of opinion.
I love that. I love that example. You said you had somebody and that you were with them in a session and she turned around and she was trying to forgive her husband for cheating on her.
Mm-hmm.
And you reframed it to, how about you just accept it?
Right. Because everyone was telling her, you really need to forgive him. But that didn't work. And
No,
just say,
I love
okay,
that.
I accept him as he is. And in this case, he was really doing everything within his power to put their marriage back together. But she says, I just can't forgive him. I said, well, then don't forgive him. Just accept him. Oh,
Yeah, it's so
I can
powerful.
do that.
Yeah, I think
But
acceptance is
but
powerful.
again, the events of the past have nothing to do with this now. Right now, as you in this now, as you and I converse, as far as I can tell, everything is perfect.
Everything is perfect. And in this now and in this moment, I'm super grateful to have you in my life. I'm super grateful for your love, your mentorship, your perspective, you really helping, even with that hypnosis session that we done the other day. I that day I done so many different things because I have worked on myself and I have so many different modems and incredible people that I go to. That day I kind of done this thing called Nate. I done kinesiology. I done balancing of my energy and, another way to get some of the somatic grief out of my body. And then I sat down with you and it was the understanding of you being through a similar situation, right? What that was occurring in my reality. So it's being understood, but then also explaining to me and helping me understand, look, Marina, you suffering more right now. You torturing yourself. You going around this element of you could have done this or you could have done this differently or you should have been more involved, or is that going to change the situation? That ultimate acceptance, but also the emotional independence of I am free to process, and obviously I'm going to feel upset at times, but I am free to create still and serve, and because that brings me joy, right? And not stay in suffering. Um, because ultimately I want to help others serve and brings me happiness. And now more than ever,
Oh,
I'm called to do that.
very openly and straightforward. There's nothing wrong with you unless you perceive there is,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
that is a false perception.
Why do you think people have that perception? Like in today's society, when mental health is so massively talked about, like everyone's talking around their mental health, they're all getting diagnosed. And
because
obviously this
because
is what I
that
saw
is
play out.
because that is what's being talked about, and it does not create perceptions of a solution.
Do you think it creates more problems?
Yes, if we're talking about our uh, difficulties and how hard it is and how difficult it is to change.
Yeah.
Most people think it's got to be really hard to change my behavior. Well,
Yeah. I
it
mean, yeah.
turns out to be very simple if you change your perceptions first, and then what should be easy becomes easy. And I'm going to have you demonstrate yourself, because it's the powers of your mind. I have no power over anyone, but I'm going to have you demonstrate to yourself that by perceiving you can't do something, that you really can and that is really easy. But by you perceiving you can't, your brain causes you to behave as though or as if you can't. And you make something that should be easy difficult. And you have to do this genuinely. Just close your eyes.
Yeah.
And create with your mind a perception that now your upper eyelids are stuck to your lower eyelids, and the perception that now you can't open your eyes. With that perception there that now your eyes are sealed, try to open them, and they'll just stick tighter and tighter shut. Are you trying to open your eyes?
Yep.
Why don't they open? I don't know either. But change that perception. Change that perception from they are stuck to they are open, and they will open easily now. Now really grab this idea. It isn't that you couldn't have opened your eyes. All the muscles were there to get them open. You still knew how to open them. You still had the ability to open them. No limitations whatsoever. Except for the perception you couldn't. So your brain caused you to behave as though you couldn't, and you made something that should have been easy difficult. But the instant you changed the perception, you got out of your own way, and then what should have been easy became easy. And my argument is it is sure a lot easier to be peaceful, calm, relaxed, at ease, confident, feeling good and good about oneself than it is to beat up on themselves.
I love that. And, I think over the years, working with you and some incredible individuals, and having that inner dialogue, everything's going to be okay, and having that peaceful element within.
Okay. Stop for a minute.
Yes.
What you just said is wrong.
Okay.
Everything is going to be okay. Scrap that. Everything is okay.
Everything is okay. Yeah, in the now. Yeah, you're right.
Going to puts it off.
Yes, because you're talking in the future, not in the now. Everything now is all is well.
Yes.
In the now.
Okay.
Now.
You can say, now I am making plans to change things. And I choose to take action when the time comes to act. And that's entirely different than saying, I'm going to do something.
Yeah, that's the going to element, or it's going to be okay, or it's never going to happen then, is it? Because it's future, it's not in the now, as you have taught me. Yeah. So, yeah, you see, very true.
Your brain, and we're talking about your brain.
Yeah.
Your brain does not understand going to. It only understands the perceptions associated with it. And going to means now you're not.
Yeah.
And let me have you make another demonstration.
Yes.
If you think something is going to happen, it doesn't happen at all. Just close your eyes again. Sometime in the future, your eyes are going to be sealed. And try to open them. And they open easily.
Yeah.
Close them. Close them. They are stuck now. And try to open them. Well, I meant they're going to be sealed off in the future and see what happens.
Incredible.
And the thing is,
incredible.
Your brain is up there waiting to be instructed how to cause you to behave. And it has no other way than your perceptions, but your brain can't tell the difference between one that is vividly perceived or the one that is real.
Do you think that this is why it's also important who you surround yourself with? Because obviously you have your own perceptions, right? And your own limitations from your subconscious conditioning from your childhood. But people that you're around telling you or this and telling you that, if you choose to believe that, that's going to distort your perceptions, right?
Okay, let's stop for a minute. Not that you
Yeah.
believe it, but you perceive it.
And perceiving it is almost like seeing it.
Yes, seeing it with your mind, but not believing.
Okay.
Okay. If we had not made that eye closure demonstration before, would you have believed before because we've done this before, would you
Yeah, yeah,
have
yeah.
believed you can stop your eyes closed by perceiving them stuck?
No, not in that. I
No,
mean,
you wouldn't believe that at
you,
all. But now
no.
you do. You see, belief, true belief comes after the fact, not before. I believe I can do it.
Yeah.
That brings doubt. Once you
Yes.
have achieved a a task, then you can say, I know I can, rather than I
Yeah.
believe I can.
I love that. Yeah, because it's so true. Once you've already done something,
Now you
you
believe it.
know now you believe it. Yeah, and it's, I suppose that's the power of belief, right? That's the power of, like, in the now,
Yeah,
everything is here,
sure.
everything's present, everything that I want and need is here now.
That's right. But again, we need to plan for the future. Map
Yeah.
out uh, a course of action. But then we
Yeah.
need to come back to right now and apply the the behavior that leads to the end result chosen condition.
Yes. Yeah. So it's the behaviors that are going to lead to the end result, right? And that's a great thing to remember around all of that.
Okay. Now, it is a false perception that you should feel terrible because other people are critical of you.
Yes.
Other people's criticism of you does not change what you are
No.
unless it changes your self perceptions.
Do you think it changes people's self perceptions when they're under a lot of criticism?
All the time, but people accept other people's opinion of them as being real.
Yeah.
And the other person, uh, the only reason one person is critical of another person is because of their own insecurities.
Very true.
You
Yeah.
show me someone who is truly self-confident and they feel good about themselves. I'll show you someone who is never critical of another person.
Love that. Yeah, very true. You show me a self confident person that's truly content and happy with themselves. They're not going to be critical of anyone else.
Yeah.
What a beautiful, beautiful reminder to, yeah, be in that lane, right?
Yes.
Be in that lane, be that lighthouse, and remember that people that are in that vibration or in that state.
And again, if we can create a perception that's really quite okay for other people to be how or whatever they are,
Yeah.
and accepting them as they are, that gives us the freedom to be, I don't know how to say, insulated from their negativity.
Yeah, not be polluted by it, right? So if you just
Exactly.
accept it, yeah, if you accept it and you don't let it in and you don't take it on as something that's kind of wrong with you, and you can have that kind of clear energetic boundary, then you're going to be okay. And I think, do you think it's focusing on what you can control rather than what you can't as well?
Well, there are things we cannot control, and one of them is someone else's behavior.
Yeah. Which in a way, Lindsay, it's my biggest thing. I want to just love everyone, and I want to make sure everyone's happy and heal everyone. I've always been like that, and it's like my little heart or my big heart is like, oh, get sad when I'm like, oh, I'm not met with that, right?
Okay, but it starts with self-love
Very true.
and self-happiness. People ask me, how are you doing, Lindsay? I said, well, I'm wonderful. I woke up this morning.
You always say that to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
And every day I wake up, it's you don't say it's a surprise, but one of these days I'm not going to wake up.
You don't say that. No time soon. It was
But I,
like,
but I'm
yeah.
not going to mess up my life now by being concerned when that might happen.
Yeah, you're so right. And it's that blessed, like waking up being like, I'm blessed. I'm here today. Yeah, I love that.
Another discovery of my life is I ran around again for 36 years feeling that I was responsible for other people's happiness.
Yeah.
If people are unhappy, I felt it's my fault.
Oh, I've definitely felt that. Yeah.
I remember sitting in a restaurant one time. Two people over there got in an argument, and I felt guilty. But if
I
that
remember
is
you told me about this.
how things are supposed to be, one person responsible for someone else's happiness, then who is it that is responsible for yours? You better go
Well,
out and
this is
find
it.
them,
Well, this
shape
is
up.
it, isn't it?
Yeah, okay. And all I'm
I
saying
love
is,
this.
but I am certainly not saying we shouldn't be out there helping people to be happy or bringing to them peace and happiness. I'm just saying that we are not responsible because we can't choose their perceptions. Only they can.
And I think that's probably hard, isn't it? When you are in a family, right? And like we're talking about family dynamics and Christmas and, you know, this whole perception of a happy family. And you don't have that, right? Whether or not you're by yourself at Christmas, whether or not your family starts an argument at Christmas, whether or not people are not here and they've passed away. It's a time when that's really important to kind of remember. It's your perception of Christmas. It's your perception of how things should be, right? It's your perception maybe something's wrong with you because you're not with family, or a perception of you haven't got the life that you thought you should have. And actually, if you could just bring it back to the now and enjoying what you do have now and changing the perception, you'll create a different reality.
Correct. And I'm not saying that we need to be really happy, but at least be peaceful.
Would you say the goal of life is to be peaceful and not happy?
Well, I think I'd be happy when there's something to be happy about. But I know that I think that some people are not happy because they're not part of the Christmas family gathering. but we probably not happy about that, but we can be peaceful about it.
So if you change the perceptions to more being acceptance and having peace with whatever is, you're kind of on a good trajectory, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But that frees us up to take positive action to do things.
That does make us happy, potentially, because we're not so living
Sure.
in kind of self-punishment, self-loathing, I don't know,
And
whatever these stories are.
and we are not relying on someone else to make us happy
Yes.
or
And
peaceful.
we were talking about being with others, right? And how you love spending time on your own. And I quite like spending time on my own, but sometimes I miss the company of people, especially going through like sadness and grief and the shock of everything that's happened recently. I've like really wanted someone to be here, but actually when you're just in that acceptance of actually it's beautiful where I am at now. I think when we try and argue with reality or want something that's not there, it's when we cause more suffering.
Yes, and when it comes to grief, I
Mm.
believe grief is a very positive emotion
Yeah.
that kind of brings us into a state of self introspection and grieving over the loss of someone else. And if we are the grieving helps us to deal with the event, but it also makes us malleable to change our behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And find a way to help others who are grieving to find it a positive experience. I had a daughter who passed away at 45 years old with breast cancer. And people were asking me, well, why aren't you more upset about it? Well, first of all, I can't do anything about it now.
Mm.
And I do grieve that she is gone.
Yeah.
But that grief also reminds me of what it was to have her as my daughter for 48 years.
Yeah.
I mean, what a wonderful experience to have had Laurel in my life for 48 years. And all of a sudden, it became a positive event, not loss.
Yeah. You change the perspective
Yes.
towards gratitude and grace.
Gratitude, yes, I have gratitude that she was in my life. I am peaceful because she no longer suffered. Towards the end, she was suffering
Mm.
physically. And so there's a sense of peace and fulfillment.
Mm.
For
I
the time
think.
that she had here. Socrates
Mm.
one time was asked, there was a fellow who was accidentally killed at 18 years old. And they asked Socrates, what is your response to that, Socrates?
Mm.
he said, "What a tragic cancellation of what could have been."
Mm.
And there was another fellow who died when he was 80 years old.
Mm.
What is your response to that? What a tragic cancellation of what could have been. Now, I wouldn't call it a tragedy, the death, but we better enjoy this now while we're here.
Very true.
And when you pass on, I hope you show up to where I am.
You do. I hope we're together.
Because we can sit down and have a great conversation.
How beautiful would that be? Yeah, I love that. I love it's there's a part of me that obviously my surname's Lazarus and Lazarus rose from the dead, right?
Yeah.
And that story was brought into my consciousness because my great great granddad, he was at the funeral and he woke up. He wasn't dead, but he woke up because he had bandages on. There's a part of me that's like, okay, we can do this perceptionism thing and we can make our eyes open. So why can't we wake somebody up that's died, right?
Yeah.
But I have been thinking like I do hands-on healing and I've really been channeling the hands-on healing that I've learned this year and how to channel the light and the Christ consciousness. And I'm like, if Jesus is coming back in the second coming, can he come and help me? And can I learn how to wake somebody up that's passed? And I don't know. I think there's so much we don't know. And can I time travel and change the past? Potentially that's possible. So I'm like, maybe there's a way that I can, I don't know. I think there's so much in the human experience we don't know. Are we wearing a headset? Is this a virtual reality? Is this a game? When we talk of perceptionism and the soul and the eyes not opening and I don't know, bringing people back to life, Lindsay, is such a gift.
Well, I am very curious what's going to happen when I die, but not so much that I'm going to hasten it.
Yes.
I'll stick around here as long as I can.
Yes. Yeah. And, speaking of going through that experience when you didn't want to be here and how you shifted that,
Yes.
what would you say to anyone out there right now who's thinking that they don't want to be here no more?
I've had a few clients who have come in, and during our conversations, they say, "I am suicidal." I said, "Well, what do you mean you're suicidal?" He said, "Well, I've tried to kill myself 3 times." And I said, "Well, you're not very good at it. Next time you decide to take your own life, call me and I'll make sure you do it right." "Well, don't you care about me?" "Of course I care about you, but don't you care about you?" "If you don't care about you, then why should I?" In spite of the fact that I do.
Wow.
And to my knowledge, none of those ever followed through with that. But and that's the reason we talked the other day about people who hang themselves are dead serious in moving on so they don't hurt anymore. People who take an overdose of drugs and almost die are truly looking for recognition.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's an interesting one because obviously if somebody's having multiple attempts and they cry for help and then that's the last one that they do.
Yeah. But anyway, we cannot choose for someone else to take their lives or not to take their lives. We can intervene if possible, but we are not responsible for their choice of ending it.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
as we have talked in the past, at least with an uncle who took his own life,
Yeah.
I view it as being a great sacrifice because he knew that he was making other people in his life unhappy, and it was a challenge for other people to really care about him. But mostly, I think that it was his self condemnation of how he treated other people, particularly my aunt. He was my uncle by marriage. But I look at that and thinking, well, by him choosing to take his life, it made many other people's lives less complicated or even more peaceful. And I view that as an intended self-sacrifice for the people around him that he knew loved him.
What would you say to someone that felt like had to sacrifice themselves because they were a burden to others? What would you say to them about that?
I think I would say, well, uh, find someone who feels the same way and relieve their burden.
Yeah.
I think the way we get out of that mode is to find and serve other people.
Yeah, very true. And do you think in your family dynamic that's hard to, sometimes they say like close family members not to counsel them, not to help them, and sometimes they don't want to receive your help. Do you think that's, again, it's that element, isn't it, of people that are closest to you? Sometimes it's the hardest to.
I would say the only time we should counsel other people, whether they're family or anyone else, is when they have requested the counseling. I have hypnotized many of my family.
Really, yeah.
Only when they come and say, hey, Grandpa or Dad, will you help me?
Yes.
I've helped, I'd say probably of my 18 grandchildren and I think now 40 great grandchildren, that probably a quarter of them I helped their mom with hypnobirthing.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I studied that to teach as well.
But I would only do that if they ask.
Yeah. I think, Lindsay, it's hard when you love people so much and all you want to do and give and help, but they don't want to receive it.
Yeah.
That's the hardest
And we might ask them, and most people say, what can I do for you? To just change that a little bit to, how can I help you?
Yeah. So
And if you
true.
say, well, you can't, I thought I'd just ask. So, yeah, you can help me, and then listen to what they say.
Yeah.
And then even it may be an inconvenience for us to follow through with it, with the help or the service.
Yeah. Yeah. And what would you say to people that are struggling with like guilt and, going around all of that in situations like this? What would you say to that?
Guilt, did you
Mm,
say?
yeah.
First of all, I would ask them what I'm asking you, what do you mean by guilt?
I mean, I suppose it wouldn't present as that, but it would be like, if only I had done this, if only I had done that, if only I hadn't said this, if only I hadn't said that. Um,
Well, why not treat guilt as you do forgiveness?
Acceptance. Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
I I really did screw things up,
Mm.
and I've decided not to do it anymore.
Why don't you think people do that though? Like, why don't people just say, look, this is my responsibility. This is how I feel. This is how I feel like I could have done better. And I want to do better and I'm going to change. Why do people not do that? Why do people project their guilt onto you and cause trouble and argue? And why can't they just accept, look, I didn't do what I did and I'm sad and I'm sorry. And why don't they
But
do that?
then go back and undo it.
Mm,
Well, you can't.
yeah.
Whatever it is you are feeling guilty about does not exist. The event is non-existent.
Because it's gone.
Yeah, it's gone. It's over, past, done.
Mm, done, yeah.
Now, it might be something else as I feel guilty about what I'm doing.
Mm. Yeah, like you feel guilty
Yeah,
about being happy when everyone else is sad, right? There is
yeah,
an element of how dare you be doing
yeah,
smiling when I'm sad? How dare you?
yeah.
Mm.
Or feeling guilty about something we're going to do.
Mm.
I mean, for
Yeah.
me, guilt, I guess guilt is, for me, meaningless
And that's
unless
the same
unless it
same as
has
shame.
something to, unless it's something that's happening right now.
Mm.
If you're, I don't know, a guy is beating up on his wife while he's doing it, I think you ought to feel guilty.
Yeah, 100%.
And later on, I'm not saying that we shouldn't use those experiences to change our behavior now and in the future.
Mm.
And
Yeah, because yeah, it's
I
true.
think most people in their lives, regardless of the circumstances, if you take everything into consideration, they do the very, very best they can at the
Mm.
time.
Very true. Very true.
If you could, it's like In physics, they're looking for an equation that explains everything. Well, we're still looking for it. But there are many things that can be explained and demonstrated and replicated. But there are some things that we cannot explain because we don't have sufficient resources or insight. But those things that we can change, let's change them by changing our perceptions or helping someone else to change their perceptions so they are consistent with what they would choose to be.
Change your perceptions, change your life.
And if someone says, well, I really feel guilty about my past actions, then I say, well, stop feeling guilty and live a life different.
Love that. Well, it's very true. You can create different. Every day you can create different. Your past doesn't define your now, doesn't define your future. And if something doesn't make you feel good, then change it. And also have acceptance of all of who you are, all of who you've been, and just be open and know that you are loved for you.
But again, I think that self-love is where it starts.
Of course.
You don't go around telling people I love me, but it's a very personal inside experience.
Why don't we do that, Lindsay? Why don't we do that? Why don't we go around and go, I love me. I love myself. I love me. You know? Why is that so frowned upon, right? How dare you? How dare you love yourself? Who do you think you are?
So
That's what we get.
I really like me as I am.
Yeah. Wow. Acceptance.
But I don't tell people that, except you.
Thanks. I'm privileged.
Because it's an inside personal self-concept.
That inside self-concepts and having other people mirror that to you is valuable.
And so if I don't like me, then figure out a way to change me so I do.
Well, the only thing you could help you change is your perceptions of you, right?
Yes, we change our perceptions about ourselves.
So in the now that you are lovable, in the now that you like yourself, in the now you accept all of you. That's how you change it. The perceptions.
And there were events in my life in the past that I'm in a session, Mike. Okay, bye. Apologize for that. I thought I had that near the room.
That's all right. Maybe it was just the sign. The bell rang. Dun dun dun.
But anyway, I'm not sure how much all of this talk has helped.
It's
but
beautiful.
The bottom line, Marina, is that we are what we perceive ourselves as being.
So true.
And if we don't like something about what we are, then change our perceptions we change the perception first. Okay? Your eyes were not stuck first, and then you perceived it. Okay?
And then they were
You
stuck.
perceived it first, and then it happened.
Yes. So that power of perception, that power of the mind, that power of belief is you do hold the keys, right? You hold the keys. And as we said, this whole element of mental health, diagnosing people, keeping people in a box, thinking that they're broken and thinking that they cannot change, keeps people very broken, right?
Yeah, so if they perceive they can't change, then they behave as though they can't. Although now we must recognize we do have some physical, mental, and emotional limitations.
Yeah.
I'll take out the emotional, physical, and mental limitations. I'd have a very tough time holding down a starting position on one of England's football teams.
Yeah.
I'm a little old, a little short. So let's recognize we do have some limitations.
And is that limitations, do you think, in like mindset, in like in this whole element of some people have a brain chemistry imbalance or
Yes.
they have a genetic makeup?
Right. There are some things that we can't change.
So we have to accept them, not change them, would you
We
say to
accept
someone?
them, but let's not create limitations we don't have
Exactly,
by
right.
perceiving we can't or we shouldn't.
Because of a belief or a box or someone else telling you that, right?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
me telling you your eyes are stuck created for you limitations you really don't have.
And that's the power of somebody else telling you that, right? Not even you
Yes.
telling it to yourself.
Yes. If you perceive what they are saying is true, then you behave as though it is. Or if you perceive it by yourself, you behave as though it is.
Yeah.
And the thing is, most people, in an attempt to help someone, tells them that they are what they don't want them to be.
Wow, that's powerful.
A teacher, a friend, a teacher saying, in an attempt to get Johnny to get his homework in on time, you never get your homework in on time. We've got to do something about that.
Yeah.
And what he really means is, Johnny, I don't know what happened to you, but you always get your homework on time. The little story about Laurel when she was a teenager.
Yeah.
I heard my wife go by her bedroom door. Laurel, why don't you clean up your room? It's a mess. I mean, how do you stand to live in this squalor? I pulled my wife aside and said, let's try a little different approach here. So we went in and helped Laurel get her room all straight. I showed her how to put the dirty clothes in the hamper, and my wife showed her how to fold her clothes and put them in the drawer and hang them up, and we got her room straight. And I went by a half hour later. Laurel, you've changed. You really do keep your room straight.
Yeah.
I had Darlene go by a little later. Boy, I don't know what's happened to you, Laurel, but you've changed.
Oh.
I know what your friends' rooms look like, but yours don't look like that.
Yeah, I love that.
And you could have gone into her home with 4 adopted children at any time, and everything was in its place. She wasn't fanatical about it. But I'm convinced that that one event changed Laurel's self-perception about taking care of things and keeping things orderly and neat.
Yeah, powerful, powerful, powerful.
So if we are wanting to help someone change, don't tell them that they are what we don't want them to be.
Yeah, tell them how the opposite, right? Tell them how
You
you want them to perceive them to be.
you never pay me a compliment.
Yeah, you're not going to get a compliment, are you?
Yeah, say, well, you know, um, I would really appreciate a compliment from time to time.
Yeah. Or I love it when you compliment me.
Yes,
Makes me so happy. Yeah.
okay, but we instinctively, in attempt to change someone else for favorable behavior, we're describing what they are
Yeah. Wow.
instead of what
Yep.
we would choose for them to be or they would choose for them to be.
Love that. Describing what, yeah. Definitely guilty of that one. Yeah, that doesn't help no one.
No,
That doesn't help no one. Like, no, that doesn't help. This is what you are. And then you can see the backlash of that. Everyone starts having a go at you, right?
yes,
No one wants to be told what they are. Shoot the messenger, literally.
exactly.
Yeah, so don't do that. Lesson learned. Tell them how you would like them to be or what you need.
And also, if you're raising children, make sure that any consequences you threaten with, to be sure that you could follow through with them.
Yeah.
My son Patrick, his older sister, came and said, Dad, Patrick took some of my money. And I took Patrick to the side and said, well, that isn't what we do in our house. If you ever take another penny from any of your sisters, you're getting a spat with the stick for each penny. A couple of weeks later, $1 was missing. I thought, I can't hit him 100 times. So I
No.
sat him down and said, well, Patrick, I can't deliver the consequences I threatened, but I'm going to give you 10 cents on the dollar. So he got his spats. But we really, if we're going to threaten or use threatening tactics to try to enhance someone else's behavior, let's make sure that we're able to follow through with them, or they're meaningless.
I don't know if threatening works.
If you want to, and I said this to my children, you can go out and play in the street. But there's a consequence. You may get hit by a car, and that really hurts.
Yeah.
But there's another consequence. If I see you, you're going to get us spats with a stick. We had what we call the magic stick. And my kids together, and it's kind of a paddle with a handle on it, and we painted it bright blue. We called it the magic stick because every time I picked it up like magic, their behavior would change.
Wow.
And but and again, make sure that we are able to follow through with the consequences if we're trying to motivate a desired behavior.
Yeah.
And the most ridiculous thing is, this is going to hurt you more than me. Yeah, I'm going to give you a spanking. It hurts me more than it hurts you. And I thought of that and I said to Patrick, it doesn't hurt me at all, but it sure is going to hurt you. But I have to follow through with the consequences of my instructions.
Interesting, yeah. It's interesting the language that we say and what we do and the outcome of it. And
Even if you say something like, I'm going to knock your block off, you know, I don't think that anybody's really going to do that. It's a figure of speech.
your words really do create your reality. Be careful what you say. Be careful what you do. You can't take them words back. Speak kindly to others. And think about the consequence of your words. Is it going to create some good, or is it going to create, what's it going to create? And sometimes we're in chaos, and that's okay. But if you can come back to harmony, that's also okay. Oh, sorry.
And I believe,
yeah.
I think, starting in the very beginning, that if we have a problem, look in the mirror. But also, look in the mirror, there's a solution.
I love that. Michael Jackson.
Most of our problems.
The man in the mirror.
And most of our problems are created by ourselves. But if there's a problem, then ourselves, that the solution is within us.
That brings back power, doesn't it?
Yes.
I love that. You have the answers. You have the power. Reclaim it.
And it is the power of perception.
The power of perception. I love it. The power of perception. Is that your final quote for tonight, Lindsay?
I think that is my final point.
Love that.
That we are and feel about ourselves and other people. And it's all dependent upon how we perceive ourselves and other people. And it's sure a lot more fun to perceive ourselves peaceful and perceive ourselves as being totally accepting of other people as they are.
Beautiful.
And if they ask for help, then we leap in.
Yeah.
And share with them our perceptions of how to change.
Love that. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
It's been a great visit.
It's been beautiful. I'm so honoured. Thank you for your beautiful presence.
And